The Mortal Kombat series is really in need of a comeback. What started as kind of a simple little project designed to kind of cash in on the fighting game craze that Street Fighter II started, eventually blew up into this full-fledged phenomenon. There's movies, comic books, all kinds of clothes and accessories, and just all sorts of weird licensed merchandise. They had a live-action TV show, a cartoon for a while. Mortal Kombat was just huge, and it basically just kind of fell off this cliff. We got up to Mortal Kombat 3 and everything was fine. Then, arcades kind of started to fall off, and then Mortal Kombat 4 fell off kind of at the same time, which kind of led the series to the Special Forces game starring Jax, which was just an abysmal failure. The Mortal Kombat series has been taking a pretty big pounding now for the last few years. And now Midway's bringing it back with Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, which is actually successful at restoring the series to some of its past glory.
With their combined strength, they plotted to overpower the only two beings who could prevent their total domination of the two realms. The first was the Emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn.
While Deadly Alliance is the fifth game in the fighting series, it actually seems to kind of remove a lot of the recent history and tries to sort of tell the story all over again. You'll find characters that have appeared throughout the series returning in this game. The two main bad guys are Shang Tsung, who's been kind of the bad guy all along, and Quan Chi, who made his appearance in Mortal Kombat 4. They've made a deadly alliance, and they're attempting to take over the world, so it's up to the good forces of the Earth realm to fight back. The story's not really all that important to the game. Mortal Kombat's always kind of had that really rich backstory that the hardcore fans of the series get way into. And the story here is told pretty well. It's up to the standards set by the previous games in the series, but it's really not integral to the gameplay whatsoever. There's a good mix of old and new fighters in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. The obvious favorites make returns, so you'll see Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Johnny Cage, Sonya, Jax. And then some of the characters that have been in previous games that probably weren't the huge favorites, like Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, Cyrax, Kung Lao. The only obvious missing character is Liu Kang, though he does kind of play a role in the game's storyline here and there. The new characters fit into the universe just fine. You'll find characters like Movado, who's kind of got these grappling ropes that he can use to kind of shoot around the arena really fast. Kenshi, who's a Tai Chi master who wears a blindfold, so he's actually blind, and he does these telekinetic moves, and he actually has Ermac's telekinetic slam from UMK3, which is a cool kind of harkening back to the older games in the series. There's also Frost, who is a female Sub-Zero of sorts. She gets Sub-Zero's slide and has a ground ice attack, and does basically a lot of the similar kind of Lin Kuei ninja moves. The fighting system has been pretty much rebuilt from the ground up in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, but a lot of what is there was clearly made to kind of recall the earlier Mortal Kombat games. The dial combo system, similar to what you find in a game like Tekken, but it's also pretty similar to a game like Mortal Kombat 3. You also find a lot of MK4 style combos where you'll do a combo that leads up to a launcher, and then you'll be able to juggle an opponent for a few more attacks here and there. So there's definitely instances when you're playing the game where it feels an awful lot like a Mortal Kombat game. But it also feels really different. Each character has 3 different stances, 2 unarmed stances and 1 weapon stance, and you can switch between those 3 with a touch of a button. There are even combos that'll take you through the 3 styles, and those are the most potentially devastating combos of the bunch. You can execute your special moves in just about any stance you choose, though there are a couple of exceptions to that as well. The weird thing in the game is that they've kind of shuffled the special moves around a bit. Some of the new characters have moves that act an awful lot like moves you've seen in previous games. The Drunken Master, Bo Rai Cho, will puke on the ground, which is pretty gross, but the vomit actually acts just like the ground ice that Sub-Zero had in Mortal Kombat 2. You'll also find Ermac's telekinetic slam with Kenshi, and then Frost, of course, has the slide. there's some weird things going on with how they gave moves to the old characters. Like Scorpion can't teleport anymore, Raiden won't do his little torpedo attack, and Sub-Zero doesn't do his own slide. Instead, he has this kind of shoulder charge. They play it off in the Conquest Mode story as to say that, well, the slide's a novice move and Sub-Zero's moved beyond that. But it's kind of weird to see these characters without some of the signature moves that they've had all along. Of course, one of the major draws for the casual eye are the fatalities. These finishing moves were pretty much what got Mortal Kombat its early spotlight, and the series kind of got more and more outlandish as it went. They expanded to fatalities and friendships and just all this weird extra stuff. Mortal Kombat 4 was supposed to be the game that took it old school and only had fatalities, but the fatalities in MK4 were just kind of lame. Deadly Alliance also yet again tries to take it old school and then go back to the more hardcore style of the fatalities. And a lot of the fatalities in the game are pretty well done. You'll still have a few that you're going to see them once and just go, okay, that's pretty dumb. But for the most part, they're pretty good. Frost will freeze the opponent all the way up and then punch him in half. Scorpion will ram his spear through the guy's head and then yank the guy's head clean off. Kenshi uses his telekinetic powers to twist his opponents up like a pretzel. The fatalities are pretty cool, and they actually do kind of give that classic MK feel. You'll kind of see more blood and bones come out of a body than should actually be inside of a body. So you won't see like 4 or 5 rib cages like you saw before, but there's still kind of a nod to that past kind of overkill feel of the fatalities. Another big thing with the Mortal Kombat series has always been hidden stuff. There's always been a lot of things to find, little hidden secrets that sometimes take people months and months to even discover in the game. Deadly Alliance probably has the record for the sheer number of unlockable things in a Mortal Kombat game, and that's thanks to a section called the Crypt. In the Crypt, there are 676 different coffins, and each of those coffins can be opened if you have enough coins of the right type to open that coffin. There are 5 different types of coins, and you earn them by going through the single player, or you earn them from the Test Your Might or Test Your Sight bonus stages, and sometimes you'll even find them in other coffins. So inside the coffins, there's all kinds of stuff. There's the really good stuff you would want, like alternate outfits and unlockable characters. And then there's a whole lot of other stuff. So you're basically kind of sifting through a ton of fan art and comic book art and a whole bunch of concept sketches and pictures of the entire staff and just a whole lot of extra stuff, pictures of the Mortal Kombat arcade machines. The Mortal Kombat 4 character select screen is in there. You'll find game screenshots, just a bunch of weird kind of rare items from the Mortal Kombat back catalog. It's a neat idea. The Crypt is definitely cool, and it's kind of a cool feeling to always feel like you're working towards unlocking stuff. But in the end, the only cool things in there are the characters, the arenas, the meat of the package. The rest of it's just kind of, not really worth checking out. And in the end, it probably would have been a little better off if they had gone for a fewer number of unlockable items, but made those unlockable items more meaningful. Graphically, MK is a really good-looking game. The fighters move pretty well, all the character models look pretty sharp, and it looks really nice across all 3 platforms. The moves look good. The blood has that same kind of Mortal Kombat overkill thing where it's just basically just pints and pints of blood shooting out every time anyone gets punched in the face. And it'll actually run down the bodies and onto the arena floor where it will stay throughout the entire fight. It's pretty cool looking, though the blood running down the body sometimes looks a little weird. The move animation also looks pretty good. There are all these different martial arts fighting styles that are actually real martial arts fighting styles in the game, and most of them look pretty good. The moves animate well, and the combos kind of flow as you would expect them to flow. The special moves also look pretty good. You'll see some jitteriness in some of the transitions here and there, but for the most part, the animation is really solid. The sound is a similar story. The music is straight up Mortal Kombat music. It's basically goes back to the kind of more ominous themes found in the first two games than instead of going for some of the upbeat stuff you've heard in MK3. If you were a fan of the previous MK soundtracks, then you're going to be into this one as well. The sounds of fighting are also really well done. You'll hear, some pretty thunderous hits as the characters kind of unload on each other, and stuff like, weapons striking or slashing other opponents. That all sounds pretty good too. So in the end, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance is a really cool fighting game. It updates the series in full 3D, which Mortal Kombat 4 was unable to do, yet it still has a distinctly Mortal Kombat feel that really makes it different from any other 3D fighter on the market. If you're a fan of previous games in the series, you'll definitely find a lot to like here. And people who have been really hard and down on the Mortal Kombat series over the years should probably give it a look too, because it does have a lot to offer. There's a whole lot of replay value in unlocking stuff, mainly because it'll actually take you a really long time to unlock the game's fighters. It takes a lot of coins to open up some of those coffins, so you'll be finishing the game over and over again and going through the training modes to earn coins and just basically playing it nonstop to unlock all the cool stuff that the game has to offer. So if you're a fan of fighting games, it's definitely something you should check out.
I can no longer stand idly by and watch this evil consume the world. I have relinquished my status as Elder God to return to Earth and lead you all to battle against our old adversaries. We must act now. We must stop this deadly alliance.